So today I'm going to do a little art lesson, and this is kind of how to paint a portrait. So it's just the basics of that. First, you're going to get a canvas. I really like the deep canvases that have 1 or 1.5 inches deep stretcher bars. You can either stretch these yourself or you can buy them pre-stretched, and you can see that all of the edges are gallery wrapped. And I have actually toned the canvas with a color. It's always best to paint on a color other than white. And what I've done here is sketch the subject with just light graphite pencil. So you can kind of see that I've sketched the subject in a way that is very faint, because you don't want to add too much graphite onto your canvas if you're painting in these really light colors like a yellow or yellow and white. You want to make sure that your pencil marks are really light and just the necessary ones to define the shapes where the shadows are going to go. So once you have your sketch on your toned canvas, you're going to put it on an easel of some sort just to support it, and then start collecting your other supplies. I'm going to get some brushes out. I want to have some rounds. Round brushes are the ones that come to a point or a tip, and then also some flat brushes, and I'm just kind of like feeling of the integrity of the tip of the bristle. I actually feel of it in my mouth just to see if it's a nice pointed end, or if I'm going to need to have a different brush. So anyway, you're going to get some flats and some rounds. This is a small canvas, so you just need some smaller brushes, and then also a glass of water or some type of container of water and some paper towels. And you're going to just grab a few different tubes of paint. I have a raw umber and a burnt umber, as well as a burnt sienna. And I'm basically just creating a really diluted paint, a very watery paint, to do a wash for the shadow areas. So this is basically the way that I sketch in paint. So I just have a really thin graphite sketch with a pencil, but then I really do the main sketch with a paintbrush. And I use the flat brushes to fill in the larger areas or the shapes, and then the little round brushes to do some of the lines and details. So this is what it looks like after it's been kind of shaded in or toned. And then this is what it looks like after the white areas are also added. So I've added shadows and highlights. So then the yellow, the undertone part of the canvas, has just become kind of a middle third color. This is, just keep in mind, this is the original photograph. So I'm working from a black and white photograph, so all of the color is just coming out of my head. And this is the palette that I'm working with when I'm actually going to start painting the skin tones, and I just kind of create a large variety to work out the correct skin tones for the shadows and highlights and other parts of the composition, like the shadows in the t-shirt. So this is actually the finished painting. So you might wonder why the left side of the composition is left just a little bit less detailed. I actually used a photograph. The black and white photograph was of a friend's son, and he actually has loss of vision in one of his eyes, or partial blindness, and so I actually left the left side of the composition kind of open and just washed out by the sunshine as a way of just illustrating that vision that he has, and also of just kind of allowing the viewer to interpret the title, which is Unfinished Thoughts, and just a kid in thoughts, which a lot of parents can relate to, just noticing their kid kind of deep in thought. So after completing the painting, then I'm going to paint the sides. I actually paint the sides a color that would be similar to a framing color, and then also hand sign the lower right corner. And this is the finished painting. So I hope that helps you understand my process a little bit better. I also use a brushed on gloss varnish, and my preference for supplies are golden acrylics and golden varnish, just because it's really archival and high quality. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and let me know if you have any questions about the portrait painting process as well.